26 will provide another data point is to make events that really matter. And to make events that really matter, you certainly have to have the most competitive golf you can get with the best players.
Some signature events this year. Do you see yourself possibly skipping some in the future just because the schedule is going to turn out that way?
Yeah, I'll always choose the schedule that best fits me. And this year that meant skipping
events on the tour schedule for 26. That doesn't include the fall. It includes 4 weeks where you're playing 2 events concurrently. That seems a little bit closer to saturation.
GregNorman faced heavy criticism for 3 years after launching a golf league, which is 48 players and only 14 events, and many in the golf world weren't fans. But now the tide may be turning. TigerWoods recently revealed that the PGA Tour is considering major changes to its schedule at the Hero World Challenge on December 5th. He said the tour might start right after the Super Bowl and wrap up before Labor Day, meaning the season would run from February to August instead of nearly the entire year. That would nearly cut the season in half. Tiger also warned that eggs will be broken, hinting that some tough changes could be coming by 2028. What's even more surprising is that the PGA Tour, which once penalized players for joining LIV Golf, now seems to be moving toward a very similar model. The new CEO, Brian Rolap, formerly of NBC Sports, wants a tour to focus on fewer events, bigger moments, and a simpler format and approach that closely resembles the LIV Golf style. It's a huge twist in the world of golf politics.
Hallelujah, yes. That's what I wanted in 1993, us to have control. It's the PGA Tour, it's the professional golfers tour. It's not the professional institution.
It's easy to get trapped in the circle of being at the golf course and around golfers.
So, what do you think about these changes? Are they smart growth? Or is the PGA Tour quietly adopting a model it once criticized? Subscribe to stay on top of all the major shifts in the golf world. GregNorman stepped down as LIV Golf CEO in January 2025, with Scott O'Neill, a former Philadelphia 76ers executive, taking over. Norman's contract officially ended in August, and since then he stayed busy designing courses and assisting with planning for the 2032 Brisbane Olympics. Yet, reports indicate he has been closely watching developments in pro golf, and what he sees seems to validate the decisions he made at LIV Golf. Pro golfer Beau Hossler recently discussed the PGA Tour's upcoming changes on the Subpar podcast. Ranked 64th globally, Hossler said the new system might only have him facing top 5 players about 5 times a year. He noted that seeing 7 of the top 10 players together would likely only happen at majors or exclusive invite-only events. The new format is expected to divide the PGA Tour into 2 levels, top players traveling and competing against each other, while the rest fight for limited spots. This represents a major shift for golfers trying to climb the ranks, especially since the Korn Ferry Tour now awards only 20 PGA Tour cards annually instead of 30.
You hear of people getting their tour card, this is what they're talking about. And it's an actual physical card, and the tour players, once they get on the tour, they'll have their name stamped in the back of this. Pretty cool.
A future competition committee that would review the entire competitive model of the tour. You said you want significant change. You said it's a holistic process.
I think we want to be aggressive. I think we don't want the change to be incremental. We want it to be holistic, and we want to do it as soon as...
Many in the golf world are now worried about what these changes mean for young players trying to make it big. The path to the PGA Tour is becoming tougher than ever. Q School, which used to award 12 full PGA Tour cards, is expected to give only 8 in 2025. For decades, this was the main route for unknown players to climb the ranks, but that system is slowly fading away. At the RSM Classic, Harris English warned that starting the season right after the Super Bowl could bring major changes, including cutting long-standing events like the Sony Open, held since 1965. Even the iconic Tournament of Champions in Hawaii, famous for its ocean views, could be removed, potentially ending the entire Hawaii stretch of events. Veteran Tom Hogue said the old system worked because players could set their own schedules, resting or playing multiple weeks in a row, a freedom that made the tour unique. Now, the new plan focuses on required appearances and smaller events with fewer players. Critics argue this favors top stars while limiting opportunities for others. Losing tournaments also impacts local communities, as events like the Phoenix Open Honda Classic and John Deere Classic have raised millions for charity over decades. With a recent $1.5 billion investment from major sports owners, limiting access may increase value, but many worry lesser-known golfers will pay the price. The debate intensified when Scottie Scheffler won Player of the Year over Rory McIlroy, despite Rory's historic season.
LIV did was it brought private equity into our sport. First time ever in 54 years. Outside money got invested in.
Critics argue that recent changes show big-name stars getting more support, while opportunities for other players are shrinking. GregNorman told Australian Golf Digest that LIV Golf was the first league in over 50 years to bring private investors into professional golf, completely changing how the sport is funded and operated. That investment helped push new ideas, stronger marketing, and better fan experiences across the PGA Tour. For years, the tour had been slow to adapt, and many believe LIV Golf forced it to evolve. Ironically, the PGA Tour is now adopting a model similar to the one it once criticized, except this time, it retains full control of the money. LIV Golf never intended to replace the tour. It planned 14 global events, allowing players to compete in both leagues. Instead, the PGA Tour suspended players, filed lawsuits, and raised ethical concerns. 2 years later, it seems to be building a very similar system. Justin Thomas added fuel to the debate on the No Laying Up podcast, noting conflicts over Ryder Cup conditions at Bethpage Black, highlighting the tour's desire for total control. Q School changes and fast-track options, legal complaints from former LIV players, and incidents like Cole Hammer's disqualification show professional golf becoming increasingly political, complicated, and less fair for everyday players.
Always choose the schedule that best fits me, and this year that meant skipping a few signature events. I might skip less next year. I might skip the same amount, I don't know, but it's all just, the luxury of being a PGA Tour player is we are free to pick and choose our schedule for the most part, and I took advantage of that this year, and I'll continue to take advantage of that for as long as
Catholics weren't happy, Protestants weren't happy, but it brought peace. And if that's and then you just sort of learn to live with whatever has been negotiated.
GregNorman has believed in the same idea from day one: make golf more global, play fewer events on bigger stages, and let the best players compete around the world. When he first shared this vision, he faced heavy criticism and was even called a traitor for challenging golf's traditions. The PGA Tour painted him as a villain, claiming they were protecting fairness, history, and a system where players earn their way up. But now, in 2025, the landscape looks very different. TigerWoods, who criticized LIV Golf's small field format in 2022, is now helping build a very similar system as part of the PGA Tour's future plans. The irony is clear. The same leaders who once defended tradition are now breaking it apart. CEO Brian Rolap secured a $1.2 billion streaming deal, benefiting top-ranked players, while golfers outside the top 50 face fewer events and shrinking opportunities. Veteran players like Stewart Cink admit the path is tightening, and full PGA Tour cards have already dropped. Analysts warn the Tour is copying LIV's model without fully understanding it, while LIV Golf continues scheduling events that clash with major tournaments, forcing players to choose sides. Critics argue golf is moving away from merit-based competition toward a system driven by TV ratings and money. For GregNorman, this moment isn't about being right, it's about watching the PGA Tour slowly become the very thing it once fought against. Subscribe for expert analysis on every major move shaping the game.